Hey guys, I'm so glad y'all could join me today. I've been asking people what they want to hear me speak about, and the top two things that I've been told are stress and relationships. And more times than not, it's been asked for me to talk about stress. So I decided to go ahead and talk about this week. So I asked what the top 5 things that people stressed out about, and 4 out of the 5 times I got the same answer. So I went ahead and wrote those down and found some Bible verses over them. And I may look a little different today. I'm not wearing makeup, and I'll get to that in one of these stresses. I'm guilty of stressing over every single thing in this list, so I hope you guys can get something from it, and I hope y'all enjoy. So the 5 things that I'm going to talk about are school and education, money and jobs, relationships, our future, and sweating the small things, and lastly, our body image. So the first one that I really wanted to go over was school and education, and the verse that I have actually 2 that go with that. But the one that I'm going to read is Matthew 11:28 through 30. Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. One thing that I was told people stress most about when it comes to school is when you study extremely hard for a test and you think you know all the material, and you get to the test and you look down and you just know nothing, and you end up doing terribly on the test. And that's probably one of the worst feelings I think any student of any age can feel, because that leads to disappointment on yourself. You start to get yourself down, and you think you're disappointing your parents and the people who support you. And that's one thing you don't want to do. You do not want to disappoint your parents or the people who are supporting you in your college career. So I think one thing very important to remember when it comes to school and your education, God placed you at that school for a reason. He placed you in that class for a reason. And just because you did bad on one paper or you did bad in that class, your grades do not define you, your future, or what God has planned for you. I know making good grades is definitely a factor in our future, but failing one class isn't going to ruin our future, and it's not going to set us back as far as we think it will. So I think it's good to just keep in mind that our grades do not define us. And the second verse that I'll list down below is Psalms 55:22. Our second topic is money and jobs, and the verse that I have with that is Psalms 39:6. Let me get to it really quick. Surely a man goes about as a shadow. Surely for nothing they are in turmoil. Man heaps up wealth and does not know who will gather. And what I got from that is God told us He will never leave us without the resources that we need to survive. And another thing that goes with that is that money does not define us or who we are. I know we need money to put gas in the car, to get to our job, to make the money, to pay the bills, and to put food on the table. But God has so much more planned for us in our lives than just the daily job, driving to work, making money, going home, stressing out. He really wants us to use the money that we make to better His kingdom, to give tithe, to help others, to help in charity. I know one thing that I struggle with is giving tithe. I'm not sure why it is so hard for me to give a tithe, but blow $30 on shoes. I don't know why that is such a struggle for me, but I think it's really important that we have our priorities straight when it comes to money. And even though happiness can be bought in certain items, you can't buy the happiness that God has for us, and you can't buy the future and the plans that He has for us. Like always, God's plan is greater than our plan, and God's plan most likely will not define the money that you have in your bank. The third topic I have is relationships. And the first verse that I have that goes with this is 1 John 3:1, which says, "See what kind of love the Father has given to us, that we should be called children of God, and so we are. The reason why the world does not know us is that I do not know Him." And what I get from that is, like I've said before in my past video last week, is that we meet everyone for a reason, good or bad. Every situation is to help us grow with God and to grow with each other as a community. And what I've noticed about the different relationships and friendships and family matters that I have been in is that jealousy arises very easily. But jealous is almost like a poison, and it can kill your relationships with your friends, your family, and even yourself. It can taint your relationship with God. Jealousy leads to gossip. It leads to anger, hate, holding grudges, all the things that God doesn't want us to show towards other brothers and sisters in Christ come from jealousy. So I think it's very important when we want to get jealous about something, or we have something bad to say about a relationship or somebody we're in a relationship in, is to turn to God and turn to the text and really ask him, hey, can you please help me with this relationship? Can you help me with this problem? And I just really need your guidance right now. And the second verse I have that goes with this is Proverbs 4:23. Keep your heart with all vigilance, for from it flows the spring of life. And what I like from that is that we should guard our hearts, but open it to people who need love more than we do, because we could even change their life with the love that we show them. They may seem like a very uptight and angry person, but they may just need some love. They may need encouragement, and that may be why they are angry and why they are closing themselves off from others. It's because they need us to show our love for God and pour it out to them. The fourth topic I have is the future. And the verse I have that goes with this is Matthew 6:34. Therefore, do not be anxious about tomorrow, for tomorrow will be anxious for itself. Sufficient for the day is its own trouble. And that's such a true verse. We shouldn't worry about tomorrow when today will just pass us by. And I know the future can be scary, especially when you don't know where you're going, what major you're going to graduate with, what job you'll have next month, what city you're going to be living in with a new job that's entailed. But it's really important to remember in those times that God's plan is always greater than your plan, and that can be extremely, extremely scary. It's scary every single day to know that his plan is greater than our plan, but just think of all the glory and the happiness that can come out of following his plan. And the other thing I have to say on this topic is to not sweat the small things. It goes back to the relationships. It can lead to gossip and hate and grudges. And those are, again, the things that God doesn't want us to show towards our brothers and sisters. And sweating the small things is very, very hard. I do it probably 20 times a day, which that I don't like being able to say that, but that's just how I'm built. And I sweat the small things more than I sweat the big things. But that goes back to not going to bed angry. The fifth and final thing that I had more people tell me they stress about than anything else was body image, hence why I'm not wearing makeup today. I weighed more in 6th grade than I do now, and I had acne and redness and dry skin before anybody else in elementary school did, and I had already struggled with being bullied, but when 6th grade hit, that's when it hit me really hard, and I was just being bullied for how I looked, and I didn't understand why I looked different than others did, and why would anybody want to date me when I have red skin, or why would anybody want to be friends with such an ugly person? And I think it's so sad that no matter what gender, race, age, ethnicity, anything, no matter what you are, people struggle with the exact same flaws and self-consciousness about things like that. And I think it's very important that we all love each other for our flaws, because honestly, God sees us in such a light that he doesn't even notice our flaws, because we're so perfect and beautiful in his eyes, and we have so much more to do in our life and so many ways to glorify his kingdom than worry about the flaws on our skin, on our face, on our body. And even though we aren't perfect, God sees us like we're the most perfect human being he ever made. And one song that I really like to listen to when I'm feeling very self-conscious is More Beautiful You by Johnny Diaz. I think it's very important to listen to that song because he does a very, very good job about explaining how God sees us, why he sees us the way he does, and why thinking about our flaws is not an important thing. And, our flaws don't define us. Just like I've said before, our money doesn't define us, our grades don't define us, but our flaws don't define us either. Our weight doesn't define us, nothing. Our acne, our glasses, our messed up teeth, none of that defines who we are in God's eyes and the goals and paths he has set out before us. And I have 3 verses, 1 Timothy 4:12, Psalms 139:13 through 15, and Ephesians 5:29 that I will list down below that go with this topic. I just don't have time. I want to keep this video short. I know it is a little bit longer than it normally is, but I just felt like I had a lot to say and a lot of people could benefit from this video. So I really hope that y'all enjoyed this and notice some things you stress about and some different ways to cope with it, and really lean on God when those things hit you hard. in life. And I hope that you can share this with somebody who's been stressing out a lot lately. I know I have a lot of friends who have been stressing over some of the same topics that I mentioned, so I hope all of you got something from this. And remember to always tell me what you'd like to hear and share your stories with #Faith and 5, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye!